Good morning everyone. This is Harry from Spurs TV. Back with another video. As you can tell, I've been out for a while. I was actually ill like a week or two ago, so that's why some of these videos come in quite late. So I'm finally back now. So today we're going to talk about Spurs transfer window, which actually does start today. Ironically, the same day as the Euro starts, which there'll be another video about that. Especially one on England and one just in Euros in general. And yeah, let's get straight into it. So obviously, as everyone always says, this window is the big window. We're going to make all these signings, blah, blah, blah. So first of all, just get that jargon out of the way before I get into like players we've been linked with, players who I think we should get, which will be coming at the end, and players that I think will realistically get as in the club's targets, and where I think, as usual, we'll have like a bit of a mare window. And that's kind of, unfortunately, that's just the truth of it. And where this window will reflect on the sense of, because everyone bangs on about the importance of the window. And I think it's important in the sense of because we saw Ange, what he did last season. And I'll put my thoughts and feelings on Ange to the side for this video. And I'll save it for next season because I think the proof will be in the pudding. But get straight into it. In terms of, he played this certain style last season, apart from that one game against Man City. Will the players we bring in reflect this style of all-out attack? I'm just going to call it that just for the sake of it, because that's basically what it is. Will the players we bring in mirror that in terms of, the style? And as you know, nowadays, we don't really have kind of individualistic players in terms of, the players like Ronaldinho back in the day. We have system players now. So will the players we bring in also be club signings or not club signings? Okay. And so let's get straight into it. The players leaving. I thought I'll start with this first because I think it's probably the easiest thing. Just on the state of it, first of all, Werner didn't leave and he ended up staying. Otherwise, he'd be on this list. And my thoughts on Werner, as you might have seen in my last video, I kind of addressed that. Him staying kind of indicates that maybe Ange is, in fact, the yes man that I've been saying for a long time. And he'd not be on this list of players leaving because he was only a loan. I expect him not to come back. But yeah, as for the players that actually have left so far, and Ndombele's contract was cancelled, which is, thank God, woohoo. But if we let him go 2 years ago, or maybe even really 3 years ago, we may have got some money back from him after Jose left, which I think that's on the club really. You give a player 2 years and then that's it for me if he's not doing it in 2 years. And that's why I say Johnson, for me, gets 1 more year. If he doesn't improve in next season, then forget him. Also, Sessegnon was let go. Tanganga was let go, which, unsurprisingly, surprising to many people actually, I was quite a fan of Tanganga, and I think Spurs are the people who kind of ruined his career, not actually, himself. In the sense that when he broke through, we played him, and this is where I think Jose got it a little bit wrong. But I don't think he's complete culpable for it because if it was a Jose, Tanganga wouldn't have been the first team player, I don't think. But he played him on the left, he played him on the right, he played him at centre half in some games. And when the likes of Nuno and Conte came in, even though I thought Tanganga was quite decent on Nuno, they didn't really know where to play him. And I think as a consequence of that, combined with his injuries, that kind of ruined his Spurs career. So Tanganga going was kind of a given by this point in his career, and he's gone to Millwall now, I think, and that's basically done. And obviously Sessegnon, historically, we know how many injuries he's had, so he was going to be let go. As for players that are possibly going to go, Genoa made a bid for Jed Spence. Obviously, you've got Rodon, who did well at Leeds on loan. Whether Leeds intend to sign him permanently, supposedly if they got promoted, they were going to try and do it, but they didn't. They lost the playoff final. And Rodon's actually had a decent loan at Leeds, but he's definitely on his way out. Jed Spence, it's no surprise. I mean, 3 managers, I think, have not fancied him. So we've got Conte, obviously now Ange, and obviously, maybe Mason does count in sort of in between. I don't know, but Basically, if you manage to have a fancy team, I'm Daniel Thomas Frank or Daniel Fark, one of those kind of managers when he went on loan to didn't like spend seasons at least his attitude. So he was always, I think, one that was going to go. I think, and Regulon as well, which is one I'm sort of sad about because I was quite a big fan of Regulon under Jose, and I thought he wasn't so bad as people made out under Conte. So I can't remember playing that much under Nuno because Nuno didn't last very long anyway. But Regulon's probably was on his way out. But those are the main ones I can think of off the top of my head. Brian Hill expected to go. And how much money can we garner from these players that are on their way out? I'd estimate at a push 100 mil. And that's pushing it maybe, considering the amount of players I've named. But if we're saying get 10 million for Rodon, maybe 10 million for Brian Hill, maybe a bit more. Lo Celso as well, which I kind of mixed feelings on Lo Celso going because I think of all the signings we made that 2019 window, he's the only one that kind of shone a bit. Because under Jose, he went for a very good spell actually, and even this season or the past season, at this point, I thought Lo Celso was actually one of our better players when he came in the short minutes he had. I thought he was pretty good. I mean, City away, he was definitely our best player. And then, obviously, in the few minutes he's created a lot of chances. And I would have seen Lo Celso as like an 8/10 next season. You can even play him against low blocks with Maddison, I thought. Unfortunately, to his own detriment, his injuries have kind of let him down. But he seems to do well for Argentina. And obviously, like Romero used to do, but now he does well for us. And I'll touch Romero in a second because Romero to Madrid is quite interesting for a very good reason. We'll see the Celso. I personally would have kept him, but like this is just my personal opinion because, like I said, I think he played 8/10, and you kind of have a little bit of versatility there. He even play wide, and even if you kind of had him just for like cup, not just for cup games, but he doesn't have to start every game. His injuries might not be that much of a risk if you use him 30 minutes here and there. I don't know if he'd be happy about that. But the fact you've got clubs like Villarreal, obviously he went on there on loan, but even Emery, who had him at Villarreal, want him at Villa. I think Villa want him, considering they did finish above us. It does kind of speak volumes of his quality. And again, I'm not saying the Celso is like the best player, but I think he does have some usability. But I don't know what the word is exactly, but I don't think he has some use in our squad next season. So that's one. Højbjerg leaving is inevitable. Atletico Madrid, Fenerbahce, even Conte wants him Napoli, so I think he'll find a club. But obviously, now I said I'm going to touch on Romero to Madrid. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but a week or two ago, Romero made some comments about like offers that he was getting or something like that, along the lines of me and my agent assess the offers we get. There's been nothing that's kind of, caught my attention. I can't remember the exact quote, but something along those lines. But now, obviously, Madrid's link has turned up. And I hazard to say that he's going to be interested in Real Madrid, isn't he? Now, it comes to the point whether Spurs make a choice in the sense of if you sell Romero, I know people rumoured that Dragusin was already his replacement, which wouldn't surprise me, but you're going to have to bring in another centre-half inch, like 100%, especially with Europe next season. Which centre-half do you bring in? The club apparently intend to bring another centre-half in anyway, so that makes two centre-halves. So, and I imagine one of them will be on the left and one on the right now. Who do you target? Are you going to let Romero go? And if you're not going to let Romero go, how are you going to intend to make him stay? I guess it's making a statement in terms of signings. That's what I would say, at least. And so, furthermore, this kind of stinks to the fact that he's been here since Nuno, which I think is since 2020, and he's probably kind of fed up of being fed false promises, like a lot of other players that have come here before. And as you guys might realize or know from before, I'm not saying Romero's bad, by the way, but I'm not his biggest fan. I think Van der Ven's already better than him, but Romero has kind of grown in terms of more of a leadership this season. So if it was me at the club, I'd kind of push him to be the captain to make him stay. I know it sounds counterproductive because I myself wouldn't do that. I'm more of like I'd rather have someone like Benz be there as a captain. But if I was going to try and not force Romero to stay, but encourage him to stay, I kind of push him to be the captain, and that would be pushing Son out of the way because he's not actually captain material anyway. And that's how I would do it because you can tell him, look, you're going to be the heartbeat of this team now or in the future. Um, and obviously, like I said, that wouldn't have been my first choice. I'm more pushing someone like Van der Ven to be the captain because he's probably our best player, and without him, the system doesn't work anyway. But if you intend to keep Romero, you have to do something like that. But could he go to Madrid? I wouldn't rule it out because I think that's the one offer that I think him as an agent would assess. So, yeah, I guess leave the space. As for our targets, okay, as you know, we do need a striker. We do need a winger. Unfortunately, Werner's probably fit one of those slots. Number 6 obviously is one target. Supposedly, we want centre half, as I mentioned, and apparently we've been looking at fullbacks. So let's talk about the targets. Obviously, the most one that's been talked about the most, at least, is Eze from Palace. Could that happen? I do think people like to label it as negative, but I do think this one could happen because of his agency, and he seems to be good mates with Maddison. So I'd put good chance for Eze Spurs. I think that could happen. As for replacements for Højbjerg / number 6s, I think Gallagher will probably be that guy. I think Spurs will try and get him. If not, maybe they'll move for Onana. But I haven't seen any other midfield links. There's an Edison to Atalanta, who obviously did win the Europa League. But why would he come to Spurs? Also, Liverpool kind of interested in him now, so it might be a tough deal to do now because we left it too late. That's apparently a Paratici recommendation. As for strikers, it's real tough out there, man. So you've got obviously Ivan Toney is probably the cheapest deal. People are claiming it's going to be the cheapest deal. But would I want Toney at Spurs? Probably not. The most left field ones I've heard is like stuff like Watkins. He's been linked, but can it happen? I just don't see Villa selling Watkins. They're selling Douglas Luiz, so I don't think let Watkins go. And of course, Jimenez was the name talked about for months and months, even before we come close to this window opening. Could that happen? Well, Arsenal have missed out on not really lost him. They missed out on Sesko, so supposedly they're moving Jimenez now. So on slot is at Liverpool. So there's that Dutch connection. Could he go to Liverpool? I don't know. I don't know what kind of targets Liverpool are going for. But Jimenez would have been one I'd said was quite probable for the striker slot, actually. But now on the face of it, looking at it, I think Tiny's probably the most likely at this point. As a centre halves, not really been linked with many I can really comment on. Like I said, midfield. Like I said, I've been linked to Onana and Gallagher. Nothing really there. Eze's kind of the winger being linked with. Nico Williams was one quite earlier. Not earlier, we're kind of like a few weeks before the window opened. He's been linked with Villa as well, Nico Williams, but that's gone quite quiet. His wage is also like 250k a week or 300k a week. Sometimes he's always very high. But would he come to Tottenham from Bilbao? I don't know about that. I can't answer that question. But these targets we're going for, I just don't see them taking us to a title challenge next season. So if it was me, I'd be going for better. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm going to go on to now. My dream signings. Okay, there was a wild link to Isak. Now, Isak for me, if we got Isak, that sorts our striker problem for the next 4 years, probably 5 years. I know he's got that injury record, but combined with Son and Richarlison, along with, because I'd keep Richarlison personally, along with those, say had those 2/3 strikers there, and Isak say the first choice, you could do bits. I know it'll cost 100 million plus, but Isak could do bits. As for wingers, I'd take Eze. I think he'll be not bad of a signing. But the other one I really want is the Napoli winger, Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia can always play as a 10 on the left wing, the right wing. He's also one to watch during the Euros because Georgia actually did make the Euros. Unfortunately, they beat my team Greece, but they did make the Euros. And it's like those three are probably my dream signings. For defence, Bramthwaite, if you're going for a centre half, you go get Bramthwaite for Everton. Even Tarkowski is a good shout there. Go get them both maybe. If Romero's going, just go sign Bramthwaite and Tarkowski because that kind of sorts us out. Because at least they're a pairing from before, right? And then you can just stick him in when Dragusin and Van Ven aren't playing. And Bramthwaite is a left-footed centre half, and we're targeting that supposedly anyway. For the fullback slots, I know I didn't talk about much about the targets because we kind of look like players like Doughty, which I'm kind of like about. I think that guy in Spain, Dumfries, I think he might not be a bad shout at right back. Because I'm kind of with a left back position, I'm kind of reserved in terms of like whether we need one or not. Because as we saw in the last season, Van Ven did a good shift out there on the left hand side, but at the time, obviously, as at the time of saying this, we still have Romero, but he obviously put Romero with Dragusin in there and moved Van Ven there. Obviously, it's been linked to like apparently De Ligt's on the market this summer, and maybe Upamecano might be on the market, but he's one that's kind of fallen off the cliff. And then you've got Kimmich, which is kind of like I call like a rogue link. Would Kimmich come to Spurs? I don't know, but he's another one who can fill a lot of positions. I'd take Kimmich in a heartbeat, and I think out of all the Bayern players on the market, De Ligt and Kimmich are the two I'd definitely take. But my dream signing, if I want to make this less brutal, is definitely Isak. But I want you guys to let me know in the comments what players you want at Tottenham. What would be your dream signings? And I'll be back soon with another video talk about England at the Euros. But I'm leaving that for tomorrow, because obviously this is coming out on the 15th, so the 14th. England play on the Sunday, so it'll be out on the Saturday or the Sunday. Obviously, my thoughts on England at the Euros. I don't know if you guys want to hear that, but we'll see. And as always, come on, you Spurs.